Welcome to this new video peel of CONSPIRE project. Today we are here with Patrizia Nicandro, psychopedagogist, Ph.D. in Anthropology and Epistemology of Complexity. Thank you very much for being with us and for the useful insights that you will for sure give us. My first question is about the evangelical movement. What is it? And specifically also the Pentecostal movement, because I know that it's your field of studies. And how does it intersect with conspiracy thinking?
Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to address together the topic of conspiracy thinking. I will focus my talk especially on the Italian Pentecostal movement, which is my main field of research. I would like to start by saying that there is no direct link between evangelical faith and conspiracy thinking. History, however, shows us that religious movements often start small and charismatic, simple in their organization, and later they develop into structured organizations with rules, leadership, and institutional links. Grasping this process helps explain why, in some cases, misunderstandings or conspiracy ideas can arise. Now, let's get into the heart of the matter. Pentecostalism emerged in the United States at the beginning of the 20th century within the Protestant tradition and spread to Italy through a small group of Italian migrants in Chicago. After baptism in the Holy Spirit, with the evidence of speaking in tongues, they founded small autonomous congregations with informal worship and a strong charismatic ethos. Their guiding principle was neither hierarchy nor anarchy. Now, this phase changed under the fascist regime, when the churches were severely persecuted and struggled for religious freedom. In 1947, many Pentecostal churches in Italy joined the Assemblies of God, which was already the largest Pentecostal denomination in the USA, and gained legal recognition. Church affiliation then shifted from a congregational to a centralized structure, still used by the Assemblies of God today. During this transition, the Italian Pentecostal movement was supported by two key figures. Dr. Henry Ness, a Pentecostal pastor within the Assemblies of God, and the Presbyterian pastor Frank Bruno Gigliotti. They presented themselves as general supporters of a movement deeply affected by persecution. Only later, historical research revealed the broader context of their involvement. Let's start with Frank Bruno Gigliotti. He was a Freemason of the Scottish Rite and played an important role in reunifying Italian Freemasonry under American One. He was an agent of American intelligence involved in anti-communist activities with anti-fascist groups and the American Mafia. Later, the Parliamentary Commission of Inquiry on P2 linked Gigliotti's exit to the rise of Licio Gelli. As we've seen, Gigliotti collaborated closely with Dr. Henry Ness. Ness was a member of the International Council for Christian Leadership, a network of influential Christian political leaders promoting church growth and anti-communist initiatives in Europe. He was active in Masonic circles and represented the National Association of Evangelicals and the Assemblies of God, maintaining political relations even with the Vatican. Some documents have shown that during the Second World War, Pope Pius XII had close ties with the secret services and that religious groups were actually used as a cover for intelligence operations. Tragically, Dr. Ness took his own life in 1970. Finally, this case helps us understand why this issue is important. Since conspiracies often appear as hidden and secret plots rather than visible actions, it is essential for religious organizations to be transparent about their history and internal dynamics.
Thank you very much for this interesting insight. Personally, I didn't know about these very strict ties that you mentioned. And my second question is, what are the main challenges from an educational point of view about these conversions?
Yes. Okay, from an educational perspective, the main challenge is managing complexity. Religious organizations, especially those officially recognized by the state, must deal with several dimensions at the same time: theological, historical, psychological, social, legal, and economic. When these dimensions are not carefully studied and connected to one another, reality tends to be oversimplified. This can open the door to sectarian dynamics and to a polarized view of the world. As Edgar Morin has shown, the fragmentation of knowledge makes it difficult to understand how different elements are connected. Only complex thinking, which integrates interdisciplinary perspectives, allows us to understand complex systems, such as religious one, and avoid reductive or dogmatic interpretation. Another key idea developed by Morin is the concept of emergence. This refers to the way new properties or dynamics appear within complex systems. This phenomena cannot be explained by looking at individual elements in isolation. They arise from interactions among those elements. For this reason, complex reality requires a form of thinking that can grasp broader dynamics generated by relationships. Some churches, for example, focus too much on the devotional theological dimension, on the defense of rigid identity boundaries, and the authority of charismatic leaders, while treating critical thinking as a threat. In such contexts, believers who dare to question or think critically may be isolated, mocked, excluded, or considered dangerous enemies of the system. In many cases, pastoral training focuses almost entirely on theological and devotional education, while neglecting critical study of institutional history, analysis of historical sources and update scholarship, the study of power relations and organizational processes, and the contributions from the human and social sciences. By contrast, a pastor with a strong and authentic vocation and a solid, well-rounded academic education will not fear dialogue or critical engagement. Such a pastor can help community members live their faith freely, while also teaching them to practice and express critical thinking peacefully. He will also be open to supervision in his faith journey and his work with fellow believers. This way, the system as a whole can grow and evolve, respond to internal and external perturbations, stay open, avoid abuses of power, and lower the risk of conspiracy narratives.
And connected to this last things that you have said, as the evangelical movement itself took measures against conspiracy thinking, and if so, how?
Yes, in recent years, the evangelical movement has tried to address conspiracy thinking. However, these efforts have been partial, fragmented, and often inconsistent. As an example, in 2018, a national conference on the history of the Italian Pentecostal movement was held in Milan, where various academics and representatives of religious organizations took part. Its goal was to establish a historical archive and consolidate research on the largely understudied Italian Pentecostal movement. Yet, the initiative did not gain much follow-up. Moreover, debate at the conference was limited, and open discussion about the transition from congregational governance to affiliation with the Assemblies of God remains frankly complex and controversial. Religious organizations tend to defend their institutional position, avoiding critical engagement with historical documents. Importantly, another key point is giving a voice to believers who were victims of abuse and who have left their community. While other countries, such as the Anglican Church, have established independent commissions to make churches safe spaces, in Italy there is still strong resistance to acknowledging the problem. Notably, in 2019, a secular association in Turin organized a conference to support abuse victims and to reflect with various professionals on the dynamics of manipulation implemented in cult groups. At this event, several believers and former pastors shared their experiences. They reported mistreatment for raising concerns about church hierarchies, financial opacity, pressure donations, or attending other denominations. Many described interference in their private lives, children education, and leisure time. They were pressured to make radical commitments to the community while cutting off contact with non-converted friends and family who were considered worldly or even diabolical. As a result, the absence of listening spaces, transparency, and safeguarding can foster insular dynamics and reinforce conspiracy thinking. Addressing these issues is not about silencing dissent, but about creating spaces where complexity can be confronted openly and responsibly. To conclude, research must continue with a focus on the emergence of abuse victims and on a detailed evidence-based history of the Evangelical and Pentecostal movement.
Thank you very, very much, Mrs. Nicandro. It was really interesting from our point of view because we have tackled many topics and fields of studies, and this was an extra added values. So I thank you a lot for your time and for your precious information.
Thank you to you very much.